guys, welcome back to another episode of On the Bright Side. I'm your host, Caroline Sesko. I'm so excited you're here. I'm so happy you're here. Life has literally been weird as of late. The other night I went to bed and it was like midnight and I was like dozing off and I was on Hinge because yes, guys, I re-downloaded Hinge. This is going to be like my hero arc where I do well on Hinge. Anyways, so I download Hinge and I start dozing off because the men are boring me, obviously. And then all of a sudden I hear a man and he is talking and he's really talking like really weird. And I obviously jump up and I'm like, holy crap, who is that? Who's in my house? Like, why is there a man in my house at midnight? Like, I can assure you one thing, I did not invite no man into my Barbie dream house, especially at this hour. Who is this man? And then I look down at my phone and it's actually a man's audio playing on Hinge about like one of his prompts. And I go, are you kidding me? Thank you so much. You just caused me like a grade 4 heart attack, if that's even a thing. So my heart went pitter patter for the rest of the night and I lost all my sleep. So obviously he was not on my like list because I can never hear his voice again without my heart like slamming. So yeah, that was crazy. And then the day after that, I was taking pictures and a bird pooped literally 0.5 centimeters away from my face. And I was like, I don't know if that's good luck or bad luck. Someone let me know that I was that close to the bird who shit on me, or I was that far away from the bird that shit on me. I don't know. I guess it's if you look at the cup half full, half empty. I don't know. And then the icing on the cake of this weekend, I was downtown shopping, and like shopping is exhausting. Shopping is an Olympic sport in this area, and it is hot. It's like 100 degrees, and I forgot water. So I'm like, holy moly, I need water. Like, I need to go find a place with water, and I'm like frantically searching for water because I'm like, I'm going to faint. And then we get to a store that I'm like, okay, one of these places have to have water. Literally called Everything But Water. Awesome. I didn't even know that store existed. I was like, hey, universe, thank you so much. It is clear you don't want me to have water right now. I understand. Let's move forward. So yeah, life has definitely been funny. I like to think all of these funny as of late. And then on top of that, we have a shift in a different direction, a way more positive direction. I am officially hosting my second Wake Up to Wellness event in Charleston, South Carolina, and I could not be more thrilled. I'm so freaking excited to do this with you guys, to build a community, to bring people together, because I don't know if you guys know, if you're newer here, there was a version of me who was extremely anxious, who felt like she was the only one facing this kind of anxiety and these intrusive thoughts. And it was debilitating for a long time. We'll keep the story short. But my OCD got so bad, if I didn't sleep for 9 hours and 20 minutes, I would make myself throw up. I would wash my hands literally until they bled. It was a crazy, crazy cycle of intrusive thoughts. And then I got the help I needed. I went to therapy. I got prescribed medicine. And I put a lot of work in. And now, a bunch of years later, I took a step further. I moved 16 hours away to Charleston, which was never something I thought I would be able to achieve right now. And I moved here. I did it. And I could not be more happier with the place I am right now. I want that for everyone because I know both sides. Because to get here, it was a very isolating feeling. It was a feeling of a lot of anxiety, of feeling really alone. And I don't want anyone to feel like that, whether it's because they don't have friends, whether it's because of their mental health, whatever it may be, I don't want someone to feel like that. So I'm taking Wake Up to Wellness from New York to Charleston, and we're doing event series number 2. And it's actually crazy that I'm here in Charleston, and it just like speaks so much on how you can grow through your anxiety, because younger me hated sleepovers. I hated going to people's friends' house, and you know, my parents, I'd dial them up, hey, can you come pick me up? I'd literally be 4 hours away at my friend's house, and I'd call my mom and I'd call my dad, and I'd be like, guys, I'm having a panic attack. I'm throwing up. I need you to come get me. And every single time they did. And they have always been my rocks, and they've shown me that you can go after things and you can go do these things, and we're going to cheer you on, but you're never going to lose home, and we'll always come and get you. I hated my freshman year of college. I called my parents sobbing every single day for the first 2 months, throwing up, and I was like, guys, I just want to come home. And they were like, Caroline, we know you can do this. And I'm so thankful they pushed me because it ended up being the best experience. But my anxiety took over a lot in my beginning years of college. And I was like, I don't want to live like this. But it shows it's taken a lot of baby steps for me to be able to get here and to do the thing and to travel and to go follow my dreams. And it's funny because there was a time where I wouldn't even like the slightest change in my schedule. I was literally going 20 minutes down the road and would have a panic attack because I wasn't close enough to home. This is what my life was for so many years. And I say this because I want people to know that there is a light out of the tunnel. You are stronger than anxiety, and you can become the driver of your car because you control your life. You are the driver, not your anxiety. Your anxiety might sit in the back seat, but it doesn't mean it drives. And for a while, I let my anxiety drive. So I wanted to do something about it. I wanted to bring people together when I became more of myself again. And now that I've created a community in Charleston, I was like, okay, I want to bring Wake Up to Wellness here. And I want to do it because not only do I want people to feel heard, but I also want people to have one another. I crave community. Community is so important to me wherever I go. I need my girls. I need my people in every place, whether they're a phone call away, a plane ride away, whatever it might be, I need them. And I think it's so important that everyone has these people in their life that are there for them and that truly understand them, because people crave community. And there's so many people who stop themselves from walking into doors like this. But in moments like these, people stop themselves and they create barriers from themselves and they say, hey, I can't go to the event. I have no one to go with. Or, hey, I'm really scared. I don't want to go. I don't want my anxiety to win. Or I don't want to feel alone. Or I don't want to feel isolated sitting in the corner. It to be awkward. You create those barriers. I was once that person too, where I was so scared to walk into a room. I would have my head down. I'd have a plan A, B, and C of who I was going to talk to and what I would do if no one was talking to me at the moment. I understand you. So this event is for those people, or for the people who have just moved here, people who have lived here forever, that are craving a sense of community. And I'm hoping by the end of this episode, I can convince you to take that jump and come join me on the second Wake Up to Wellness, or just take a jump in life wherever that may be, because you are the only one holding you back, and you can open so many doors if you stop holding yourself back and let yourself live the life that you are actually supposed to live. And when I say living the life you're actually supposed to live, I also mean with the people you surround yourself by. So many of us, we get comfortable with the people around, whether it's because we have history with them, or they have the same class as us, or we see them once in a while. We love to keep things the same. We don't like change, especially if you are someone with anxiety. I understand that. And so we settle and we say, hey, this is good enough for me. These friendships are good enough for me. Even if I feel left out, even if I feel lonely after I hang out with them, or drained after I hang out with them, it's fine. It's totally fine, because I don't want to put myself out there and put myself in a new situation that's really, really scary. And I'm just going to keep these friends. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to keep these friends. And it's easier to stay in a relationship or a friendship with people we already know. It's comfortable. It's familiar. So we don't move from it. But let me tell you, people who have settled have never achieved their dream life, because there is stuff out there waiting for them. And they picked the other option because they didn't want to go try for it. They didn't want to get out their comfort zone. Imagine at the end of the life, there's a life you were supposed to live and the life you lived. And the life that you were supposed to live was all your wildest dreams obtained. And the only thing you had to do was go take that jump. That was the only thing in the way from you getting your absolute dream life. You would kick yourself. You'd be like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do that? So that's how we have to operate when we try new things, when we go find new friendships, when we walk into new doors. And we need to find the people that make us feel comfortable, that make us feel heard, that make us feel appreciated. Not the people that are just there because we have history with them or because our family friends with them. Those kinds of relationships in our life, if they are not good for us. And a lot of people say friendships are quality over quantity, and I 100% agree. But do I think people actually believe that wholeheartedly? I don't know. Because I think for a while, for me personally, when I was growing up, my mindset was the more people that were there, the better it was. And that if there were less people, then I would look stupid, or I would look like a loner, or I would look like I had 3 friends. And nowadays, even with social media, we think that bigger is automatically better, that the bigger the party, the more fun it is. That's not the case. And I can tell you firsthand from someone who had a lot of friends growing up to now having a lot less. I'm so much happier with the lot less friendships because they're true quality friendships. And let me just tell you, let me rip the Band-Aid off and tell you, if you have a friend and they are talking nasty about someone, you are not the outlier. You are not the person that they are just no longer not going to talk about. You are getting talked about too. Whether you want to hear it or not, once a shit talker, always a shit talker to anyone who comes in their circle. And so many of us have experienced this where people go talk crap about one another and then they go sit at the same table. And they're like, la-di-da-di-da, my best friends, this is my best life. That is not your best life. That is a facade of fake friendships and all you sitting around a table that's built on nothing but fakeness. And does that sound fun? No. Is that the life you want to live? Is that the friend group you want to be a part of? One that thrives off of drama and thrives off of gossiping around another, and the friend group that literally the only things they have in common and to talk about are talking negatively about someone. And for a while, I was a big part of that. I would just jump right in because I felt like, okay, this is going to get me included. But I've experienced larger friend groups and I've experienced smaller friend groups. And what I found with some of the larger friend groups I was a part of is that I felt lonely. I was surrounded by so many people, but at the end of the day, I felt lonely because I felt so honestly misunderstood. I can remember back to, there was a time where my friends and I were all trying dresses in the shop, and I saw this dress and it was so cute, and I picked it up first. And then another girl picked it up and she decided she wanted to buy that dress for formal. And I was like, oh. Like, I didn't have a backbone for myself. I couldn't stand up, and I remember just being silent and being like, yeah, like you can have the dress. Because I was scared of my friends, honestly. I was scared of what people may think of me if I decided to stand up for myself or if I decided that I wanted the dress. Like, if they wanted it, I couldn't get it. But if I wanted it, then, oh, we could all twin. And I just never wanted to say anything because I didn't want to be pinned down as dramatic, or I didn't want to prove a narrative in their head that they had already made of me. So I tried to just slide by, and I just tried to agree with everyone and say yes to things that were mean, go along with things that weren't right. And I just did it because I was like, well, it's better to have a group of friends than no one at all, right? Wrong. I've honestly never felt more alone in that time. I was surrounded by so many people, and that was when I felt the loneliest because no one understood me. No one really understood what was going on in my head, what was going on in my life, and I just slid by. It was exhausting. And when I got left out, I would try to shake it off and be like, oh, it's totally fine. But I remember sobbing time and time again in my room. And like, I was the poster child of the person who got left out. That was me. Snap Maps was my biggest op because I would just see all these people together, all these people hanging out without me, like people I called my friends. And I was just like, oh, like there's another little stab. And I picked and choose what times I said something because I didn't want to be seen as too emotional or too overdramatic. And if I reacted this time, they were going to get a kick out of it. So they were going to do it again. And that has nothing to say about them. It's just we were meant to be in two separate rooms with separate people doing separate things. We had different values. We had different goals. We had different wants. And that's what happens when you go into a room that you're not supposed to be in, when you open a door that you don't fit in and you try to fit yourself in that room. Just because you have history with someone, just because you've been friends with them for such a long time, does not always mean it should last forever. It does not always make it healthy. And honestly, I think for a lot of us, we just become obsessed with the numbers, obsessed of having a lot of people in our life because we think more people is better. Then we want a big table. And then before you know it, one person's missing at your table. And that's where your focus goes. That's where you notice someone's missing instead of all the people that are at your table right in front of you, cheering you on, loving you. Your eyes go to the one person that isn't there, that isn't showing up for you. And that's what happens when you have these large groups of people that you can't count on, because then your mind just starts to notice the bad, and it just starts to notice who's not showing up for you and who's not supporting you, instead of the really good 5 people who are your rock, who are cheering you on, who are mentioning your name when rooms you're not there because there's a really good opportunity. We forget those people because we're so busy looking for who didn't show up. And then when you have a smaller circle, there may be less chairs, but I can guarantee you more people are going to show up because these are your truest of true friends. These are the people that you would ride or die for, and vice versa. They're going to show up to your table. You want to find the table where you are all versions of yourself in one room. You know, in some friend groups, I was really shy. In some friend groups, I was really outgoing in myself. In other friend groups, I would just did what everyone else did because I just wanted to fit in, and that was that. And you know what room worked really well for me? The one that I was outgoing in, the one that I could be myself in. And that's the room I started to look for more and more, because I was like, I'm not a shy person. I'm not someone who goes along with everyone else just because they're doing something. That's not me. So that's not a room I want to walk in anymore. And that's not a room I want to be a part of. And for a while, I thought feeling lonely and being by myself was isolating. Yes, if I was with myself 24/7, that would 100% be isolation. But I looked at being alone as bad, and I looked at that as depressing and isolating. But being alone and doing things by yourself and learning that independence is such a wonderful thing to learn. If you learn to love your independence and be independent, you are stronger than 90% of people, because you can walk into rooms, you can try new things, you can go new places because you have that independence to do so, and you're not waiting for someone to be like, oh, I can come. Okay, let's go. And that's when I started realizing I would rather be alone with my own company, the person I'm with 24/7, me, a person I've learned to love, way more than a group of 15 people I'm with who make me feel so lonely and who make me feel like I could just cry when I go home. There were times where I literally left hangouts and just cried. That's not how it should be after you go hang out with people you call your friends. That's when I learned independence. And when I moved to Charleston, that is where so much independence came, because I learned to find myself before I found other people. I learned to make a routine and build a routine for myself, and then I added people. Because when you have anxiety, for me at least, when I have a routine, it makes me feel better. It makes me feel like I'm in charge. It makes me feel like I have more control. So I made that routine for myself, and then I started implementing people into a routine I had already had. Because if I like this routine, it means I like what I'm doing. So if I'm going to implement friends in my life, then they can just do what I'm doing, and if they like it, then we're supposed to be in that same room together. And that's where I learned that it is important to do things by yourself and be happy in your own presence, because once you do that, nothing can be taken away from you. You are going to go wherever you want to go. I think for a while I was like, oh, if I'm by myself, I feel like a loser. No, independence is cool. Being able to do things, being able to walk into a room by yourself is really, really cool. But when we think about going into rooms alone, I understand our mind goes to, okay, who can I talk to? What if I feel alone? What if I want to leave? Wake Up to Wellness is for you. Why not you start with an event that's built to handle things like this, that's built to help you find a community, that's built for people to come alone and walk out with friends. So I want you to challenge yourself, because think about it. If you go to this event by yourself, you're opening so many more doors for yourself. Because if you can go to this event alone, then you're like, oh, I can go to the movies by myself. I can go get dinner by myself. I can go to this event by myself. And that's when you slowly learn that your power is your independence. It brings so many opportunities for your personal life, for your social life, for your career, because you're not held down to say no, that you know that you don't need to have someone with you to go to this. You start saying yes to more doors start opening. And there's so many people who feel like they can't go to something because they don't have someone to go with. And I understand that feeling. I felt that. I remember walking into rooms, my first influencer event in New York City, my stomach was in a knot. I literally was on medicine, Zanned up, prescribed. And I was like, I'm so nervous. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know who I'm going to talk to. I was freaking out. But I went to the coolest event ever. Anna Sitar was there. I had a wonderful day. I met new people. And I was like, hey, this was a lot easier than I thought. And my mind was really working me up, because when we have anxiety, when we have mental health problems, our mind works us up, and it makes it 100 times worse than we actually think it is. And that's when I realized I have myself. Every single one of us, we have someone, and that's ourself, and that is powerful. That is a privilege. I get it. Isolation is an epidemic. We crave community. We want to feel like we belong, and we want to show up in rooms where we feel included. We don't want to go into a room where everyone's cliquey and like only certain people are talking to each other. I've experienced that. I hate it. I don't want to feel like I'm on the outskirts of a conversation. I want to be right in that conversation with everyone. I don't want to be surrounded by judgmental people. I want to be surrounded by people who want to have a good time, who love wellness, who love doing similar things I do, who crave connection. And as someone who stopped drinking for the most part, when I moved to Charleston, I was like, okay, well, how am I going to make friends? Because I'm not going to be drunk, so I'm not going to be at the same level as everyone else. And, you know, like in college, I met some friends because I was really drunk one night and we bonded and all that. And I was like, how am I going to be close with people if I don't bond with them drunk? And that was another issue raised, because I was like, I shouldn't have to feel like I need to drink to make friends, to be myself, to lighten up. So I was scared I wouldn't be able to make friendships because I felt like so many deep friendships happened in a bar setting. So I was like, okay, let's make a setting outside of the bar, something beyond nightlife where we can make friends. And I was like, how am I going to make friendships if I'm dead sober? Well, welcome to that room. Welcome to Wake Up to Wellness. That is the room for you. And the way I found that room was letting go of toxic friendships. Letting go of toxic friendships is one of honestly the hardest things. I would say it's harder than a breakup. I mean, I've never had a breakup because I'm not a boyfriend, but they are so damn hard because they're people you have so much history with that you call when you're upset, when you call when you're bored, and then you have to re-navigate that all. And it is so hard, especially someone you call your absolute best friend is now just out of the picture. It's like experiencing grief in a whole new different way because you're mourning someone who's still alive, but they're just not in your life anymore. And we were never taught how to do that. So yes, it is hard, but what's harder is staying in relationships and staying in friendships where people only like you when they're unhappy because they feel like that they can relate to you. Misery loves company. When someone sees a miserable person and they are miserable themselves, they love them because they feel like they are comforted by someone else's misery. And they think it's so easy to control you. They think they are superior and that they feel like they are up against anything. And then once you decide to level up and find happiness and find the bright side to life, then they're threatened. Because the second you start bettering yourself and they can't relate to you, they're like, well, shit. Then they just come right at you and they're like, oh, you've changed. You've changed. Well, yes, thank God I've changed. I have absolutely 100% changed, but that's not a bad thing. But in their eyes, they're spinning it as something that's a bad thing that you changed. No. You changed for the absolute better. Thank God you changed. Because why would you want to be friends with someone who only wants to be friends with you when you are miserable? And that's the kind of person they can relate to. I don't want to be relatable to someone who is miserable every day of their lives and is going to bring me down every time they do it. No. Thank God I'm not relatable then. Thank God I'm not relatable to your life, and thank God I've changed, and thank God I've moved on. And in the state of anxiety I was in, it was so much easier to do that. It was so much easier to say, yep, yeah, like let's just stay in this friendship. This is an awesome friendship. Because one, we had history. And two, I didn't want to match anyone's narrative. People would say like, oh my gosh, she's really dramatic. So I didn't want to fit that narrative. So I was like, oh my gosh, if I have another friendship breakup where I cut something off, they're going to be like, oh, here's the proof again. She's dramatic. She can't keep a friend. And I was like, oh my gosh, well, what if they think that? And then like, I'm just proving their point when I friendship break up with another person who's not good for me in my life. And then I was like, wait, why would I care? Someone else thinks, who I would not switch lives with, who I would not take their advice from because I don't want their life. And if they're already bringing me down, there's something wrong. So why do I care if they think I'm dramatic or they think I'm miserable or if they think I'm a bitch? Why? Why do I care? Why should I succumb to their version of me? Because at the end of the day, everyone is always going to have a narrative about you, whether it's correct or not, and they're going to stay with that narrative until the day they die. They think you're dramatic, they are going to point out everything in a situation that could pinpoint as dramatic. Same thing goes if you're sad, if you're emotional, if you're anxious. Oh, she had an anxiety attack here and then she had another one on vacation and then this. She's just so like dramatic with her anxiety. People could pinpoint that in 10 seconds straight. So I was like so nervous for a while for my life to fall into their narrative and what they thought. And I was like, you know what? To them, they might look like I can't keep a friend, but to me, I know I can keep a friend. And I'm cleaning up my life for the better. And I'm making friends with people who make me feel good at all times, who don't make me feel lonely, who don't make me feel small. So I learned to love my company, and I learned that being alone is not a bad thing. I think for such a long time, when we grow up, we think that the end goal is to find a husband, to be married, to find our bridesmaids. And if we're not achieving that in the timeline by 22, 23, whatever the age is, on the social stupid timeline, then we think that we're behind and that we think we are automatically a failure because we don't have someone. Honestly, some of the most successful people in this world are the people who are independent, are people who left someone in a divorce or left a disgusting relationship because they knew they deserve better. And those people are the blueprints of the lives that we should be living. We should know what we deserve and what we shouldn't. My mom, for example, a blue freaking print I've learned so much independence because of her, because she's taught me security. She's taught me to go after my dreams, and she taught me to never settle. And that's just someone I've been raised to be now. And that's the person I am. And when you're by yourself, you learn to take time to find the right people, the people in your life that are going to cheer you on, the people in your life that make it a healthy relationship. And let me tell you, the people who have the most successful relationship, I've noticed, are the people that are independent first and secure in their independence by themselves. Because once they find independence for themselves, their cup is full. So if they are adding a friend into their life, if they're adding a boyfriend or a significant other into their life, this person sure as hell is going to be a good one, because they know exactly what they deserve, they know exactly what they don't want in their life, and they know exactly what they need someone to bring to the table to be into their life. My friend has always been super independent, recently found a boyfriend. She is in one of the healthiest relationships I've ever seen because she has always been independent, and she knew exactly what she needed for someone to come into her life. And that's where you learn to love yourself, because you learn to love your own company, and you learn to not be down on yourself when you are doing something alone and you are doing by yourself. And that's what I had to learn when I moved to Charleston. I was like, okay, I want to learn independence first, because this is a new chapter in my life and I'm in a new area, and I better be secure with myself before I start making secure friendships. Because if I'm not secure with myself, how am I going to make healthy friendships? So my first thing is I made a routine and then added people to it so I could start my routine and start my life here. Then I realized doing things alone isn't weird, and I learned to do them. And after that, the biggest thing I learned is life is not on pause when we are single or when we don't have friends yet. Life keeps moving, and life is just as beautiful. Whether we're in a relationship or we're by ourselves, it's just as beautiful. Every single time we can see that sunset the exact same, whether we're single or in a relationship. That's how we have our vision on the world. So we better start realizing how lucky we are. I would much rather be independent than be in a room full of people that don't make me feel good, that make me feel lonely, and make me feel less than. And turns out independence isn't where you go, it's how you show up for yourself. When I got invited to an influencer event here, the times I made friends, like true friends, are the times where I didn't get a +1. Because I went into the room and I was like, oh shit, I gotta go start making friends, because we crave connection as humans. So we're like, okay, how can I find friends? What can I talk about? We go and we get out of our comfort zones and meet new people. But when I had a +1 and I could bring my friend, I made friends with no one, because I was like, oh, this is my comfort bubble. We're just going to have fun, the two of us, and then we're going to go home and move on. And that was another ripping the Band-Aid off. And at first it was really awkward. I was like, hey, like I just moved to Charleston. Hey, girl. And then by the time, like 2 months later, we're really good friends. And that's what it starts with. Is ripping off the Band-Aid, and it's opening doors that you haven't opened before. Because if you're opening the same doors in your life, you're going to get the same outcome of people. You have to open new doors. You have to let yourself explore new things and explore things that you like, and not try to fit into a door that wasn't made for you, and try to fit in a room where you stick out like a sore thumb because you don't have anything in common with these people and you're just pretending. And once you start showing up for your own life, that is when the doors start to open. That's when life starts to click. That's when you truly start to find your people, because you start to learn what rooms you want to walk into. And that's where you learn that it's not how many friends you have, it's the quality people bring to your life when they're around. That is what makes a healthy room. That's what makes a healthy friendship. Nothing else. Not the amount of people. How they make you feel. And that's when you start finding the people that aren't shit talking galore. That's when you find the people that are saying your name in a room that you're not in, not because they're shit talking you, because there's a really good opportunity and they want to put your name out there. They want you to get it. So they're going to do that for you. That's the kinds of friendships that heal. So I just try to take it day by day. You know, there are times where I am about to walk into a room and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm scared. With this event, I'm so nervous. But at the end of the day, you want to know that you can open the door, and that you open the door whether or not someone's next to you or by your side, or if you're going to go in alone, because that holds so much power, because you're not going to let someone else's presence determine what rooms you walk in. And that's what's allowed me to have the courage to create a Wake Up to Wellness in a town I literally just moved to. I don't know the people who are going to come, but I'm so excited. I crave community, and there is nothing better where you walk into a room and you share something in common with someone else. And what I also love is feeling understood, and I know people love that. And I started this podcast almost 4 years ago because I didn't feel understood. I felt alone. I felt like my anxiety was taking over, and I felt like no one could relate. So I was like, okay, I'm going to build a place where people can relate, because I never want someone to be like younger me, where they felt isolated and they felt alone and they felt in their head and by themselves, because someone is always going through something. I can guarantee you there's so many people in whatever community you're in that are looking to make friends, that are worried they don't have friends and want to make friends. That's what Wake Up to Wellness is for. So I started this for a place of community and understanding. And I get it. Walking into a room is hard where you don't know anyone, especially if you're not the one who likes to initiate. So let me be the one to initiate this for you. I created this event to bring people together. So on July 30th, I am teaming up with Club Coastal, which was once Coastal Caviar, and we are working with a very amazing bathing suit brand, Dippin' Daisies, to bring Bikini Charming to Charleston. There's going to be so many goodies. There's going to be bathing suits. There's going to be food. There's going to be friends, and there's going to be a community. And we're going to have wellness chats, and we're going to get to know each other. And you're going to come in by yourself or maybe with one other person, and you're going to leave with 5 or 10 new friends, or maybe even more. And the best part is all these businesses are woman-owned, and we can come together and support each other's dream. And I could not be more thankful that these women decided to take a chance on me and let me bring this dream to life and bring community together. And it makes me feel so special when other people help me along the way to follow my dreams. And that's what it is to build a community and to build beautiful friendships with people, because they want to see you win too. And that's what I want for everyone. This is how I want to see you win. I want to bring you guys together. I want to bring us all together and have us find some more friends. Tickets will go on sale. Honestly, they should be live when this episode drops, like right around then. There's only 40 tickets, so you have to grab yours before you go. Everything is included in the ticket. I'm very, very, very excited. I feel like this is like my birthday. I'm so excited, like way more than my birthday. I'm so excited to have everyone come together. I'm excited to bikini charm. I'm excited to be surrounded by really good, amazing people under one common thing, that we love wellness, we love community, and having an understanding of mental health, or just as simple as not feeling alone. So there will be goodie bags, there will be light bites, there will be bikini charming, and a wellness chat. And I'm so, so excited. And I could not believe this is happening. I'm looking at my vision board right now, and Dippin' Daisies was actually on my vision board to partner with. And let me just tell you a quick little story. A month ago, I really thought I was getting invited on this trip for a brand. I was like, my pitch was so good. I was so confident, and I didn't get it. And at that point, I was like, oh, darn it. And then I realized, this is going to allow me to pivot. I'm going to make something else out of this. I was taught when you have a problem, you find a solution. And my problem was there are so many people out there who aren't connected. There are so many people commenting on my TikTok. They're like, hey, want to go get a coffee? Hey, how did you put your anxiety aside and move 16 hours away? I was like, we can create a community for all of this and solve all these problems in one. And that's what Wake Up to Wellness is. So I'm so excited. I'm so blessed. I'm so lucky. And I'm so grateful for you guys. If you like this episode, please give it a 5-star review. If you're interested in a ticket or learning more about On the Bright Side, visit the Instagram at On the Bright Side Pod with 2 Ds. We're getting very active on there. It will be all the latest links that drop, so make sure you're following. And if you like this episode, please give it a 5-star review. Tell your friends, because when this podcast grows, it allows me more opportunities to do Wake Up to Wellness and so many events that bring us together. And now I'm meant to be here, making another Wake Up to Wellness. So I hope you come. I hope you join me. I'm so very blessed to have you all, to listeners. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say today. I love you so, so much. And remember to stay looking on the bright side. And I promise it'll serve you really well. Love you guys. Bye. Get your tickets. We're going to have so much fun.